Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rachakodash, double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that rule well, and Shalom to the 144,000 elect men of the nation of Israel and the rest of the elect that are destined to be saved. I'm the brother Caleb from the GMS UK London Forecasters Camp, coming back at you with another lesson to help edify those of which I spoke of. So in this lesson, I want to talk about something I've been meditating on quite a bit recently, which is Sirach, the 3rd chapter. I was reading this chapter, I think maybe yesterday or the day before, and it really resonated with me. I mean, it's a chapter that I've read many times in the past, but, every so often I'll, go to the Bible and just open a particular chapter or passage and just read from it. And, oftentimes when I do that, it's like the book is literally speaking to me about situations that I'm currently going through. And this was certainly a case of that because, the scriptures talk about we must honor our mother and our fathers. That's one of the commandments, that our days may be long on the earth. But sometimes it's difficult to do because, we're in the flesh. And we've got to remember that Israel is under the curses. So oftentimes a lot of us Israelites are coming from very messed up, family circumstances or, home circumstances. And we've been born into these situations because we're under the curses, the generational curses. But that doesn't mean that we can, not do our best to keep the commandments. The Most High has tailor-made our situations. He's personalized our own individual hells that we go through with family members as tests and trials for us not to be broken down by, but to, Lord willing, to overcome and rise above. Because the scriptures say, for as gold is tried in the fire, acceptable men are tried in the furnace of adversity. And the scriptures even say that your enemies shall be they of your own household. Yahushua said that. Let me quickly get that precept before I forget. Bear with me while I pull it up. I'm just looking it up here. This is Micah 7 and verse 6. I'll just go there before I come back to it. Micah 7 and verse 6 says, actually, let me read Micah 7 and verse 5. Trust ye not in a friend, put ye not confidence in a guide. Keep the doors of thy mouth from her that lieth in thy bosom. For the son dishonoureth the father, and the daughter riseth up against her mother, the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and a man's enemies are the men of his own house. Therefore, I don't want to go to the next verse. That's the verse I want. A man's enemy should be they of his own house. So, oftentimes, many of us are born into situations which are very difficult and adverse to us. But that doesn't mean we can negate the law. We still have to honor our parents no matter what. So I want to go into Sirach, the 3rd chapter, because this speaks heavily on this point. So let me read Sirach 3 from verse 1. Hear me, your father, O children, and do thereafter that ye may be safe. For the Lord hath given the father honour over the children, and hath confirmed the authority of the mother over the sons. Remember, all things have to be done decently and in order, and the Most High is not the author of confusion. So the confusion that we experience is part of the curses, because when we're in the kingdom, our families are going to be perfectly set and in order. We're going to be living in beautiful harmony with our entire nation. There's not going to be no isms or schisms or, fractures and, ill will and bad blood. All that's going to be a thing of the past. So we've got a lot to look forward to in that sense. But in order to obtain that, we have to prove ourselves worthy, which means that we have to overcome the trials, tribulations, and situations that the Most High has put upon us now. Because let me just say this, man, no Jake's got it easy. We ain't living like, on the Cosby Show where, everybody's happy and getting along in harmony. Unfortunately, there's a lot of chaos and confusion and drama, especially in the Jake household, man. Whether you be from the Northern Kingdom or Southern Kingdom, the curses have fallen upon us all. So let me keep reading on in Sirach 3. Whoso honoureth his father maketh an atonement for his sins, and he that honoureth his mother is as one who layeth up treasure. Whoso honoureth his father shall have joy of his own children, and when he maketh his prayer he shall be heard. That's deep. So that means that if you're neglecting your own father or mistreating your father, when you're praying to the Lord ain't hearing you, man. So in order to keep on in good graces with the Most High, we should be doing honor unto our parents, on this side, This is verse 6, Sirach 3 and verse 6. He that honoureth his father shall have a long life, and he that is obedient unto the Lord shall be a comfort to his mother. He that feareth the Lord will honour his father, and will do service unto his parents as to his masters. Honour thy father and mother both in word and deed, that a blessing may come upon thee from them. For the blessing of the father establishes the houses of children, but the curse of the mother rooteth out foundations. Glory not, this is an important one, this is something that I keep in my mind, or I try to keep in my mind every day. This is Sirach 3 and verse 10. Glory not in the dishonour of thy father, for thy father's dishonour is no glory unto thee. Now, this is something that a lot of Jakes would do well to take heed to, because in a lot of Jake households, the father is not present. And what the mothers tend to do is they try to sow seeds of discord in the children, to where they try to make the children hate their father, even though sometimes the father has done nothing wrong. He's just been a victim of the system, which oftentimes custody of the children is given unto the mothers and the father has no say. So the children, who sometimes are brainwashed by the mothers, grow up hating their fathers and talking shit about their fathers. My daddy was never around. I want nothing to do with him. I don't want his surname. I'm going to change my name to my mother's name. I don't want to do anything to honor my father. That's all wickedness, man. And again, that's very prevalent in Jake households. And it's tragic to see, and it's heartbreaking, because, I'm not just speaking of my own personal experience. There's many brothers in the truth who have shared elements of their own personal, testimonies of their families, or what they've gone through, or what they're still going through with families. None of us are living on the easy street when it comes to our family setups and, family dynamics. All we can do is pray to the Lord that, he eases up the affliction, because the affliction is not going to stop. You know what I mean? But, the Most High can, lighten it a little bit, because there's some days which, you're catching hell from every direction. And there's other days, where things, might be quiet for a moment, and the pressure eases up. So, that's all we can really do. Pray to the Lord that he eases up the pressure, and do our part to do our best by our parents, whether they have done their best by us or not. Because a lot of parents are very selfish, and they don't really consider or put the needs of their children first. But even in those circumstances, that doesn't mean that the child can then turn around and dishonor their mother or their father. You have to grin and bear it a lot of times. And there's a lot of testimonies that I can pull from my memory about, generations above me, such as how how relationships were with my grandparents towards their children, which would be my mothers and fathers and uncles and aunts. And I can look back at a lot of that stuff and be like, you know what? Take it. I can take take inspiration from how they dealt with their situations, because a lot of the stuff that I've gone through pales in comparison to what they went through when they were growing up. And I'm not going to go into it in any depth because I'm not going to put my personal business out there, but it's just stuff that I've been meditating on. But the point of the matter is, I wanted to talk about, honor not, glory not in the dishonor of thy father, for thy father's dishonor is no glory unto thee. Reading on, Sirach 3:11, for the glory of a man is from the honor of his father, and a mother in dishonor is a reproach to the children. My son, help thy father in his age, and grieve him not as long as he liveth. And if his understanding fail, have patience with him, and despise him not when thou art in thy full strength. For the reviling of thy father shall not be forgotten, and instead of sins, it shall be added to build thee up. In the day of thine affliction it shall be remembered, thy sins also shall melt away as the ice in the fair warm weather. He that forsaketh his father is as a blasphemer, and he that angereth his mother is cursed of the Most High. These are deep scriptures, man. This is a very important chapter to meditate on, man, if your parents are still alive on this side. Because so long as your parents are still on the earth, as children, we've got a duty to do right by them. Even if they're doing wrong by us, we still have to do right by them. That's just how it is, man. That's just the way the Lord has set the table and has the pieces on the board. That's just the way it is, and we've got to deal with the setup that we've got to play the hand that the Most High has given us. We've got to play with the hand that the Most High has dealt us. That's what I'm trying to say. This is verse 17, Sirach 3:17. My son, go on with thy business in meekness, so that thou shalt be beloved of him that is approved. And I'm going to end on this one. The greater thou art, the more humble thyself, and thou shalt find favor before the Lord. Read that again. Sirach 3:18. The greater thou art, the more humble thyself, and thou shalt find favor before the Lord. So yeah, man, everything I've said here is very important and is, good things to be mindful of and remember every day, as we're dealing with, family situations. I'm really talking about your mothers and your fathers here, uncles, aunts, cousins. That's, you can forsake them and you won't be going off. You can choose to disassociate from them if, they're doing you wrong, and you wouldn't be going off. But when it comes to your biological mother and your father, we have a duty, given unto us by the Most High, to do right by them no matter what, no matter how they may have abused you or ill-treated you or neglected you, or forsaken you. You can't turn around and forsake them. You have to do right by them. And that's the point of this lesson. It's just something I've been meditating on. I mean, I'm meditating on this frequently. But I was rereading this chapter just the other day. And yeah, man, these are good scriptures to meditate on, So Lord willing, this has been edifying. I encourage you to read this chapter, Sirach 3, verse 1 down to about 18, and meditate on it daily if your parents are still alive on this side, because, we have to do right by them. It's not optional. It's one of the commandments, So with that, once again, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakachodash, double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone at Rural. Shalom to the 144,000 elect men of the nation of Israel, and the rest of the elect that are destined to be saved. And Lord willing, I will catch you on the next lesson. Lord willing, this was edifying and reached who it needed to reach, So with that, I'll say shalom for now.